princess. Anne issued a rare public statement from Balmoral that immediately drew attention across Britain. Her words were calm, but unmistakably firm. She suggested that while the press and the public can sometimes be misled, the Crown cannot be deceived indefinitely. She compared recent events involving Prince Harry to the story of the shepherd boy who repeatedly cried, "Wolf," when danger was falsely announced too many times. People eventually stopped listening, even when the threat became real. Her statement was widely interpreted, not as a personal criticism but as an institutional conclusion. It suggested that the patience and goodwill once extended to Prince Harry had finally been exhausted. Only a day earlier, Prince Harry had appeared at a media ethics forum in Geneva. He spoke without the usual public relations support and appeared emotionally unsettled. During his remarks, he acknowledged that he had made serious mistakes in the past and accepted responsibility for his actions. He also suggested that he had been influenced and manipulated in ways he did not fully understand at the time. Some observers initially believed this moment marked the beginning of a reconciliation with his family. However, Princess Anne's statement made it clear that, from the palace's perspective, this moment had come too late. Earlier in the month, Prince Harry had returned to London in connection with his ongoing legal case against the publisher of the Daily Mail, having previously achieved limited success in lawsuits against other British tabloids. He reportedly felt confident that this case would further validate his claims about media misconduct. Sources close to the situation suggested that Harry believed a legal victory might also soften attitudes within his family, potentially reopening channels of communication that had long been closed. In the days leading up to his arrival, Harry reportedly sent a private request to Prince William and Princess Catherine asking for a face-to-face meeting. He suggested a quiet conversation away from cameras, hoping to rebuild some level of trust as brothers. However, just one day before Harry returned to the UK, William and Catherine departed for Scotland. Kensington Palace stated that the trip was planned in advance, but the timing was widely interpreted as deliberate. Had they delayed by even a day, the meeting could have taken place. The decision not to do so sent a clear message that reconciliation was not being considered. During this period, Meghan Markle was notably absent from the legal proceedings. Her representatives cited parental responsibilities and prior professional commitments. However, court observers noted that she did not formally request to attend, nor did she issue public statements of support. Around the same time, she was photographed at several private and international events related to wellness, investment, and media networking. At some of these appearances, she was seen without her wedding ring, which sparked widespread online speculation. As months passed, a pattern became increasingly visible. At public events, award ceremonies, and media appearances, Meghan appeared confident and central, while Harry seemed reserved and peripheral. Observers noted that he spoke less, stood aside more often, and appeared increasingly uncomfortable in highly curated public settings. According to individuals who had worked with streaming platforms and media partners, Harry privately expressed concern that his role had shifted from collaborator to background presence. Behind closed doors, the strain reportedly deepened. Harry was said to be increasingly focused on stability and routine. For their children, he reportedly raised concerns about travel schedules and the emotional impact of frequent absences. Meghan, by contrast, was described as prioritizing her professional re-emergence as a global public figure. When Harry voiced discomfort, sources claim his concerns were dismissed as outdated or controlling, framing his requests as remnants of the institutional mindset he had once rejected. During this period, staff allegedly noticed the arrival of expensive gifts and luxury items delivered to the family home without clear documentation or explanation. While these were reportedly described as promotional or public relations items, the lack of transparency contributed to growing mistrust. According to individuals familiar with the household, Harry became increasingly uneasy, sensing that boundaries were being blurred and that explanations no longer aligned with what he observed. In August 2025, Harry quietly filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. The filing was short-lived. Within days, he withdrew the request after receiving news related to his daughter's health, which reportedly had a profound emotional impact on him. He chose to remain in the marriage, not because the underlying issues had been resolved, but because he feared losing daily contact with his children. Mediation sessions followed, involving legal representatives and family law professionals. Discussions reportedly covered parenting arrangements, travel, education, and residency. Harry proposed a model in which the children would spend time in both the United Kingdom and the United States. This proposal was rejected. Meghan reportedly argued that the UK represented emotional trauma and historical burden and insisted that the children's lives remain based in California. Ultimately, a temporary joint custody arrangement was reached, but it included a significant restriction. The children could not be taken to the UK without Meghan's written consent. That consent was never granted. By late 2025, Harry had largely withdrawn from public interviews. Meghan, meanwhile, continued to develop a separate public identity centered on independence, leadership, and narrative control. Industry insiders reported stalled media deals with executives privately, describing the couple's joint content as lacking direction and emotional depth. Several high-profile projects were either delayed or quietly discontinued. The situation reached a turning point in January 2026. At the Geneva Forum, Harry revealed that he had received documents from an anonymous source, suggesting that Meghan had entered into a confidential media arrangement without his knowledge. The alleged agreement, reportedly, involved access to private conversations and internal family matters. Harry stated that audio files were included among the materials, though their authenticity had not been publicly verified. The implications were severe, as they suggested a breach of trust, not only within the marriage but also toward the royal family. The palace issued no response, no confirmation, no denial. According to former royal aides, this silence itself was decisive. From the institution's perspective, the possibility of reconciliation ended the moment internal trust was believed to have been compromised beyond repair. Shortly afterward, Harry took a series of quiet but symbolic steps. He formally renounced his California residency. Staff contracts were terminated early. Assets were returned or liquidated, and financial obligations were settled. Vehicles were transferred, and long-term arrangements were dismantled. By the end of the week, Harry had relocated to a modest rented property in Hampshire. There were no public announcements, no press tours, and no visible security entourage. According to one individual who claimed to have seen it, Harry left behind a handwritten note expressing regret for losing himself and determination to begin again. Even if that meant being alone, the note was not intended for publication, but its contents later circulated privately. Princess Anne later addressed the situation briefly when questioned outside a public engagement. She repeated the shepherd boy metaphor, emphasizing that repeated warnings lose their power when trust is eroded. Those close to the palace later revealed that Anne had previously explored discreet legal options that might have allowed Harry limited reintegration under controlled conditions. However, after the Geneva revelations, even those options were reportedly withdrawn. Today, Harry's situation is defined less by titles or public roles and more by a deeply personal dilemma. He's no longer positioned as a royal representative or a media figure. He is a father weighing the consequences of every possible decision. If he fights for custody, he risks another prolonged and highly public conflict. If he steps back, he fears becoming distant from his children and remembered as absent. Those close to him describe sleepless nights, persistent guilt, and an overwhelming sense of loss. He is torn between protecting his children from public scrutiny and maintaining a meaningful presence in their lives. Each option carries emotional consequences that feel irreversible. In contrast, Meghan has continued to appear at international forums and elite gatherings, delivering speeches centered on autonomy, sovereignty, and redefining power. Some observers interpret her messaging as a farewell to her previous roles, including marriage and monarchy alike. Others see it as a strategic repositioning within global influence networks. As of now, there has been no official statement confirming a final separation or divorce. What remains clear is that the shared vision that once defined their partnership is fractured. Trust once broken has not been restored. The institutions they left behind have moved forward without them, and the alternative structures they attempted to build together have largely collapsed. Prince Harry now stands at a crossroads defined not by ceremony or tradition, but by private consequence. The decisions he makes in the coming months will shape not only his own future, but the lives of his children. Whether he chooses to fight retreat or attempt reconciliation once more, the path ahead offers no easy resolution. This time there are no scripts, no handlers, and no institutions left to absorb the impact. Only responsibility remains.